So this is the casino gaming track, and we're going to talk with John Lee, who's going to talk to us about the impact of microconsoles. Consoles, believe it or not. Here we are. And John has a great background. In a previous life, he was with SoftBank as a VC. He was a chief strategy officer for Venomax, which is a Asian Pacific company. They're the largest privately held video game company. Some of the games that they publish are Doom, Fallout, and Skyrim. He's currently angel investing. And has angel invested in a couple of companies that you're familiar with here, Playcino and Xfire. We heard from Playcino's CEO today. And also Beat Cave Games, which is founded by a couple of guys from Zynga, and they're in Texas, and they're doing incredibly well with their poker game, I believe. So John's going to talk to us about consoles and the console wars, because believe it or not, consoles also play a part in the possibility for deploying social games. And John,
all right,
take it away.
Very much. Can everyone hear me? Okay, so I just want to go over the presentation. Today I'm going to break it up into three parts. One is just going to talk about the industry, give it a quick overview, give an assessment of the market, and then I'm going to make some recommendation for developers that are in the space. So this is just a bio about me, just really quick. As George mentioned, I've worked in the game space for over a decade now, worked in both online as well as in console. Some of the titles of the companies I've been associated with, like are Doom, Lord of the Rings, Guild Wars, Fallout, Skyrim, etc. Given the topic of today's speech about consoles and where the console market's heading, I've been in space for a while, and I think I can have some credibility to talk about the topic. So I think what we're going to start off is really talk about what is an industry in transition. It's an industry in disruption. Everyone knows that traditional media for the last decade has been in shift, in transition. It started off with the music industry. Everyone knows how the music industry has been disrupted by the internet. It's ongoing in the video space right now, and television, movies, and I think the next space that is going to be disrupted is going to be the video game space as we know it. And so everyone here has been attending different sessions during the conference, so we know that the growth in gaming today is not in the hardcore, but it's people who are playing smartphones, it's people playing tablets, social networks. It's all about cross-platform. So it's about one experience with full synchronization, linking in with your social graph, achievements, leveling, progress, really whatever device you're using. So, you know, I don't need to talk too much about it, but like if you're playing a game on your phone and then you log off and then go onto your Facebook account, yeah, it's no problem. And being able to pick up where you left off. No one wants to start all over on a different device. So whether you're, you know, I'll use a Candy Crush example. If you're playing Candy Crush on your phone and then you switch to your PC on your Facebook account, it's a seamless experience. And so really right now, gaming is becoming an anywhere, anytime experience. It's really device to device. Majority of games are moving to a social model, which I think many people can argue games inherently are social to begin with, whether it's a board game you play with your friends, Monopoly or chess, card games playing like poker, euchre, you know, hearts, whatnot. And games are becoming a lot more global. So we talked about a lot of the shifts going on in the market today, and at E3 in June, this past, at the E3 2013, we saw the next iteration of the next-gen console. So Xbox One announced, PlayStation 4 announced, and we learned a lot of very interesting things about where console is headed right now. So you look at the slides here, it's interesting. You know, you have a console that is going to cost you minimum $499. Then you have titles that are going to cost you minimum $60, $70, maybe $80 per title. Then you see a photo of someone sitting in the living room, because what console games are are really about sitting in the living room, being tethered to a machine, and playing in front of the TV for a couple hours. And then the last is like a kind of a shot from South Park. And I put that there because in some ways, Microsoft and Sony, the kind of player that they're targeting seems to be looking someone like that. So this audience is primarily hardcore. They're not mass market players. In my opinion, this cycle is going to be much smaller and much more niche than previous cycles. And we talked about the anywhere, anytime, any device experience. Well, the games that are going to be on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, frankly, are not going to be able to fit into this paradigm. So what's happening is people are beginning to step into the gap. And so I call this Microconsole 1.0. It's called the OnLive console. It came out in 2009. For most people in the room, they probably remember this. Their idea is very simple. Availability on any device, whether it's a PC, a TV, a Mac, a phone, or a tablet. Everything is based in the cloud. It's virtualizing the living room experience, giving community features, and really trying to remove hardware and physical media from the equation, become essentially the YouTube of the video game market. For most people, they know that OnLive failed. OnLive failed miserably. And why it failed? Well, they had a lot of performance issues. They had back-end related costs that were unsustainable, lack of blockbuster titles, and the subscription model that really didn't work, especially as the market was moving to free-to-play. However, I'd like to point out, OnLive had a lot of the right ideas. And for all its failures, I think they really were the pioneer in the space. And so 4 years later, in 2013, you have a number of people stepping in and trying to pick off where OnLive left off. So you have Valve, which is everyone knows is a big PC platform company, announcing their Steam box, which is going to be PC and Linux based. Ouya, which raised a very successful Kickstarter last year and recently raised another $15 million from top Silicon Valley VCs. NVIDIA Shield, which is an Android and PC compatible game system that's going to be both mobile as well as television based. And you have other companies coming out like GameStick that raised a very successful Kickstarter recently, Throttle Games that raised a number of money from top VCs in Silicon Valley as well. So I think it's still very, very early in the disruption of the console market. Now this list is about to get much more crowded. So if you then take what's being rumored right now, then I think the number of microconsoles that are going to enter in the market are going to literally double. So these are, you see here, links. So for me, it's like not only, I've been hearing this on the grapevine, but it's well known on the web right now, but Google is preparing a games console. Intel is already testing a set-top box with internal employees. Apple's working on an upgraded version of Apple TV to include games. Amazon is rumored to get into the space, and Samsung is strengthening its game business. And so if you look at the previous slide and then add in this slide, anywhere from a dozen companies are jumping into the space. And this is because Microsoft and Sony are really moving away from where the market is heading right now, which is this anytime, anywhere experience. So again, I think it's really what we call circa Netscape in terms of disruption of consoles. People like to say or ask me, like, who do I think is going to win? Well, it's very difficult to predict who's going to win because it's way too early. If you were to ask someone in 1994 when Netscape came out what the future of the internet was going to be, it would have been very difficult to answer that question. And I think that's where we are right now. So I put up a couple pictures up here. You know, you have like things like the Google Glass, which everyone seems to be talking about right now. You have Leap Motion, Chrome Class Player, you have Oculus Rift. You know, this is a map size of, you know, basically a LBS type of map game. And then you have augmented reality. A lot of these phrases, a lot of these terms are being thrown around right now. Are these part of the microconsole phenomena? Well, I think this presentation is really about the disruption of the traditional console market, and all these are going to play in a role in disrupting that. So I'm going to talk about a couple trends And these are my predictions. Maybe I'll come back in a year and we can revisit some of the predictions that I have. But I have 3 predicted trends. The first trend is what I call content driving adoption. So if you look at this, the pictures, you have Mario Brothers, you have Farmville, Halo, and Half-Life 2. Now these are significant because for each of the platforms that they're next to, they're the ones that really drove the adoption of those platforms. So Nintendo really had Super Mario Brothers to drive the adoption of it. Facebook games really didn't become mass market until Farmville came on the scene and became very popular. Xbox similarly with Halo and Half-Life, and Steam, right? So why did I put this up? Because I think a lot of people think of microconsole and they think, well, why would I play Angry Birds on my TV? Or why would I play Plants and Zombies on an Ouya? Well, I agree. I wouldn't play Angry Birds on my TV either. I wouldn't play Plants vs. Zombies on a new microconsole. It doesn't make any sense. I already play it on my phone. Why would I play it on my TV? I think for the new platforms to succeed, they need to seek out unique content. It's not about taking a game that I'm already playing on another device and porting it onto another TV, unless it's something very unique in terms of the control mechanism or whatnot. And I think the real opportunity is these new microconsoles, the big developers and the big publishers are going to ignore this market. I know because I work in that industry and they don't care about this market. So what this means is it spells real opportunity for small and medium-sized developers to innovate and get there first. Second projected trend is platform, not hardware, is going to win. These days anyone can put together a hardware platform and put it on Kickstarter and be successful. Ouya did it, GameStick did it. I mean, right now I don't think it's going to be hardware that's going to win, but it's going to be the platform that's going to win, right? So if you look at what Microsoft did with DOS very early on versus Apple, and what Facebook did recently against MySpace, is they opened up their platform. And using the Facebook case is very simple. They opened up their channels, whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many, and adding in a revenue share. And when companies started to get X number of 100,000 sends a day and click-through rates to support sending at that scale, it attracted guys like Zynga. It attracted guys like Playdom. It got the kings of the world, as well as many indie developers. And with everyone iterating, they started to make money. And that's how Facebook ultimately became a platform. And this platform type of business is really what's going to define who's going to really win in this next round of the microconsole battles. Once you have a community to open up the channels, like Facebook did, then you can do one-to-one, you can do one-to-many, you could do ratings, you could do, you could do bonus features like game centers, app discovery, search, curation, whatnot, right? And then in this battle, I'm making a prediction here, but guys like Amazon, guys like Steam are going to have natural advantages. My third prediction is smart TV manufacturers are also going to get into the fray. You look at some of the numbers here. There's going to be 66 million smart TVs shipped in this year, expected to grow to 140 million by 2015. And by 2016, smart TV is going to be 2/3 of total units shipped globally. A lot of this growth is going to happen in BRIC markets. BRIC markets historically have not been consumers of hardcore video consoles. They're certainly not going to pay $500 for an Xbox One. And I think it'll be very, very easy for a smart TV manufacturer. They already have PC-like components such as processor and memory on their systems to add in a GPU. Once you have a GPU, you can support 1080p, you can support 3D acceleration, and then you can really start to become a games company. And smart TV companies, well, people may ask, it's like, well, why would someone buy a TV to play games and spend $1,000? Well, people are going to spend it anyways. It's more difficult to predict whether someone's going to spend $500 for an additional game console. But smart TV is a natural part of the upgrade cycle for most households. whether they live in Russia, whether they live in China, whether they live in India, whether they live in Brazil or the United States. And then if there's already a game machine built in as part of that platform, then it makes it very, very easy. And then in this case, the natural advantage goes to a big company like Samsung. Whether Samsung decides to get into space or not, anyone knows. So what are the implications for developers? Well, I think there are a few advantages. I think there are a few disadvantages. And I'll make a couple of suggestions. I think in terms of natural advantages, again, it's a land grab. The big guys are not going to be chasing after the microconsole space, right? So if you're a small or medium-sized developer, then this is a great space for you to be building on. Sure, you have a smaller customer base to work on, but it gives you a chance to really have a breakout title on one of these platforms. Because of the different kinds of microconsoles out in the market, there's a need for new and different kind of content. Expectations for customers of microconsole may be lower than prime consoles like the Xbox and PlayStation, so you don't have to spend as much money to make something that would be really interesting. I also think that motivated microconsole companies will really go out and support indie developers in the beginning, similar to what Apple did while building up the App Store for iOS. Ouya just announced that they're going to have a matching fund and Kickstarter. So for people who have successful campaigns on Kickstarter for their platform, they're going to be matching up to $250,000, I believe. So again, I wrote this a couple weeks ago, but Ouya already made a similar type of announcement very, very recently. And indie developers can be a lot more nimble than larger studios, and that can allow them to get first mover advantage on the microconsoles. There are some disadvantages. Different operating systems can slow down development, even for small games. Differences between the Ouya, the Kindle, other Android devices that have different kind of Android flavors, that can seriously impact porting and development time. There's going to be a lot of hardware fragmentation, which could lead to a lowest common denominator type of gaming content. Smaller market shares could fragment the market too much, so it could be a small pie and cut into a lot of even smaller pieces. Microconsole companies or customers may not embrace premium pricing of games, DLC, or other type of add-on content. And I'm making a big assumption that the big companies are not going to jump into the space. But if the big companies are to jump into the microconsole space, then it's not going to be much of an opportunity. And so there is an opportunity right now because they're not there, but who knows how long that's going to last. So in terms of my suggestions for small and medium-sized studios, well, I'm just reiterating a bunch of my points. I think microconsole is truly a land grab opportunity, especially for small, nimble, innovating companies. However, you have to build your house first. You can't do everything at the beginning. You have to pick your battles very carefully. I think you have to be agile and be ready to go cross-platform. We're talking about this anytime, anywhere type of game. So you have to be able to support the player to play on the device of their choice. And this is a great time to experiment. There are a number of new emerging business models, such as location-based services, such as second screens, such as augmented reality. People talk about wearables like Google Glass. I will make another prediction. I think that's years away from mass adoption and years away for any small company to really think about developing a game for Google Glass. Yeah, I mean, people play Clash of Clans today. They play games on their iPhone. But now this iPhone 4, iPhone 5 era, you wouldn't have built that game when the iPhone first came out. Think about emerging markets or Asia for experimentation. If you're going to go to Asia, think about understanding the feedback loops in those markets. And the winners are going to be those people who really think of games as a service, not only just straight game design or engineering. And you have to really think about developing games in a very short time cycle, very quickly, and iterate. The 2 or 3 year traditional console development cycle is not going to work anymore, especially for this platform. So that's my presentation. I've been told that I don't have any time left, so I'll open up for Q&A. Thank you.
smartphone to a big screen, which is great for gaming because there's no lag. How do you see microconsoles against it? You mentioned with smart TVs, you're going to buy a TV anyway.
Yeah.
People are buying Android phones anyway.
Yeah.
So how do you see the microconsoles competing with connecting your smartphone, which you already have, to a TV with something like the controllers you mentioned earlier, the Atlas from Green Throttle, or the NicoPlay Pad, or the Moga, or any of the other?
Well, I think what my argument is, the microconsole includes those guys, and so the smart TV is going to integrate microconsole type functionality and features onto it. So smart TV is going to be a competitor to the Ouyas of the world, and they're going to be the competitor to the NVIDIA Shields of the world, or the Steambox of the world.
Sorry, the reason I mentioned the TVs was you can buy it anyway. How about, is there a market for microconsoles if people can take their already existing Android phone and connect that to the TV to play games?
Yeah, so I understand your question, and I think it goes back to my second point about the unique content. And so if you're not going to be able to build differentiating content for your platform, then you're absolutely right. Then there's no point whatsoever. And so if you're an Ouya or you're a Samsung or whatnot, you're going to have to build compelling and unique content for your platform. Otherwise, there's no point. And then you're exactly right.
Just to follow up the content point, this is social gaming. What do you see on these sort of consoles in the way of social gaming and even real money?
Well, I think in terms of RMG, it goes to my point about experimenting overseas. So North America, everyone likes to talk about where RMG is right now. But there are markets that have already been operating at RMG for a number of years. To my knowledge, SkyB in the UK, they've been running horse race and horse betting online, one click, since 2005. That's already a legal market. They're already experimenting, not even experimenting, they're already proven for the last 8 years business models that work for sports betting, for RMG, and with gamification. So, if you're going to be thinking about RMG, then you really should be thinking about, going into established markets like Europe or potentially even Asia. Last question. Sure.
What do you think about the possibility of cloud gaming like online?
Well, OnLive is essentially in, I don't believe they're in receivership anymore, but they were in receivership, and then they got bought out by their majority shareholder. I think, as I mentioned before, it's OnLive specifically was a very, very good idea, but was based on immature and incomplete technology.
Yes, and so the concept of online is very, very good. But what do you think about the possibility of next third online?
Of course, there's always a chance for someone to come out, but they're going to have to improve on a lot of the technological failures that OnLive have.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.